Welcome to my channel. I'm Scott, and in this video we're going to talk about the 10 investing rules. So the number one rule, as Warren Buffett says, never lose money. And what's the number two rule? Don't forget rule number one. Because when you lose money, you lose the opportunity to grow your portfolio larger because of compounding. Let's just say, for example, you have $100,000 in your account. Your goal is to get to $200,000. And that could take you 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But if you make a really bad investment and lose $50,000, it's going to take you so much longer to get from $50,000 to $200,000 than from $100,000 to $200,000. But we all know logically it's impossible to never lose money. Because even if you do a lot of research and find a great investment, you could still lose money because say you invested in a company that made typewriters and you didn't realize computers were going to make typewriters obsolete. What this rule really says is don't get married to an investment. If you see some red flags, you can avoid the investment. Don't just invest because somebody told you or you have a really good feeling about a company. Do some due diligence. Sometimes just focusing on the downside first will help you avoid some losses. Try to focus on the negatives because maybe you'll see so many that you'll be happy you avoided the investment. There's going to be lots of situations you avoid an investment and it ends up being a home run, but these things happen. Because if you invest in a company like Coca-Cola that's used by billions of people around the world, that's been around for longer than you were born, versus something like Bitcoin, you're probably going to make more money in the long run investing in Coca-Cola. Because the Coca-Cola company has a really strong intrinsic value, a really strong brand name. People are buying Bitcoin because they think it's a finite product and they want to own some because eventually there won't be any more Bitcoins made. So the idea is they'll be able to sell their Bitcoin for more than they paid. But not everything that has scarcity has value. If you keep a personal diary, that's the most unique product. There's only one of that in the world, your personal diary, but it has no value to anyone. Rule number two, think like an owner. Remember, you're investing in businesses, not just stocks. A lot of people think of stocks as gambling. A stock is a tiny percentage of a business. Over time, if the business performs well, so will the stock. On the flip side, if the business performs poorly over time, so will the stock. Of course, market dynamics will influence the stock price. But if you buy and hold for long terms, good companies go up in price, bad companies go down. And just be mindful of the reasons you're investing in the first place. Are you looking to save for retirement? Then holding long term makes sense. Are you gambling? Did a stock go down 90% because they filed bankruptcy and you have a feeling the stock will jump up because of people covering their positions? So in the short term, you want to make a quick return. So to do well in investing, you have to focus on fundamentals, valuation, and the long-term prospects of that company. The third rule, stick to your plan. The best investors stick to a process that is consistent and successful over different market cycles. Try not to deviate too much from your plan, because when you do that, things tend to go wrong. The great thing about buying and holding long-term is volatility doesn't affect you too much. It would affect you if you happen to retire at a market bottom and you needed money. But if the market bottoms out, and you don't need your money for another 2 decades, it doesn't matter because the market always goes back up. Rule number 4, buy when others are fearful. When the market goes down a lot, people sell or they stop paying attention to the market. I do this sometimes too. I get so annoyed, I don't even want to look at the market prices. But don't be like other people. Stay on the market, follow things, look for good deals. Because the best bargains happen at really difficult times. Amazon's stock price went down over 90% because it was connected to the dot-com crash. But Amazon is a great company and the stock went up another 10,000% from that bottom. This is a really good quote I saw recently. The stock market is the only market where the goods go on sale and everyone is too afraid to buy. If you focus on fundamentals, you should be buying when the market goes down. But people think when the market goes down, it will just keep going down forever. But this never happens. To certain stocks it happens, but to the overall market and to good companies, this does not happen. And try to keep your emotions in check. The people who were buying during the COVID crash made a great return into 2021. Of course, some stocks have come back down to pre-COVID levels, but those are crappy companies that shouldn't have been that high to begin with. Rule number 5, keep your investing discipline. Continue to save over time. Even if you can only save $50 a month, continue doing it. Even if the market is crashing, put the same amount as you did last month when the market was prosperous. And when you force yourself to invest a certain amount of money each week or each month, you'll live below your means and build up a really nice nest egg. That's why the 401k is so great, because it forces you to invest. It takes money out of your paycheck automatically. Rule number 6, stay diversified. Having your portfolio in just 1 or 2 stocks or sectors can be unsafe. Nobody can predict the future. Diversifying really mitigates the ups and downs of the market. And it's really easy to do. Just invest in the S&P 500 or any other ETF that tracks an index. Avoid timing the market. Rule number 7. Buying a stock at the very low point and selling at the very high point is pretty much impossible. Time in the market is more important than timing the market. This is a quote you probably heard many times. You need to stay invested and stay strong. Don't jump in and out of the market. And you'll notice the best days and worst days are really close together. So how would you know whether to buy or sell? Unless you're psychic and you had a crystal ball and you knew to sell one day, buy back in, then sell the next day. Which just sounds silly just saying it. So you want to buy over time, dollar cost average, and in the long run, you'll be successful. Rule number 8, understand what you're investing in. You'll probably make money in the long run if you just invest in things that you understand. Because if you're investing in a company, don't you want to at least know what they do and what products they make? This helps you understand the future demand. If you invest in a company like Johnson & Johnson and they sell aspirin, that makes sense. That's a product that's always going to have high demand. But if you invest in a company that has this amazing nanotechnology, you're like, what the hell is that? So if you don't know what it is, just avoid it. It's the same thing if you're investing in a fund. Understand that fund's track record and the expenses. If you're buying an annuity, understand how the annuity works and what your rights are. Rule number 9, review your investing plan. Lots of people don't put together an investing plan. Some people spend lots of time putting together their first investing plan, but they never review it. Reviewing it and updating it is just as important as creating it in the first place. Because if you have it on paper, it's going to be a lot easier for you to follow. Plus, you can always go back and look at it. What are you investing in? Growth companies, value companies? Are you buying and holding? What's your end goal? Do you just need money to buy a house? Are you saving until you retire? What do you want to invest in? Stocks, bonds, crypto, real estate? What percentage of each? You don't have to review your plan every week or every month, but do it every year. You could do it on a special occasion like your birthday, or when you pay your taxes, or New Year's. Just pick a day so you won't forget it. Because when people put together their first financial plan, it's likely it's not going to be the last. Because life takes drastic turns. You get married, you get divorced, you get a new job, a big inheritance. Lots of things can happen. And rule 10, stay in the game and have emergency funds. It's so crucial to have emergency funds. It gives you peace of mind and you avoid selling at the wrong time. I like to keep 3 to 6 months of emergency funds on hand, but everybody has a different comfort level. Because if you really need money to pay rent or to pay some bills, this generally happens at the wrong time when the market's down and then you sell at a loss. Or you sell prematurely way before you normally would have sold. And there are lots of high yield savings accounts. And this is guaranteed, you really can't lose any money. The FDIC insures you up to $250,000. So smart investing is not just about doing the right things. It's also about avoiding the wrong things. Because if you watch these YouTube channels, people talk about how they bought this stock at the low point and sold for a 500% gain. Or how they sold this stock right before the market crashed and bought back in after the crash. But these people neglect to say the things they did wrong. Maybe they bought a house a few years ago, a house they couldn't afford, and they sold after 2 years, took a $200,000 loss. And that $200,000 loss wipes out all these big gains they talk about. That's why it's really important to stick to your plan and avoid making really big mistakes. And as a blanket statement, don't listen to others. You learn so much more about doing your own thing, and if you make a mistake, you'll remember that for the rest of your life. I don't mean ignore what others say. You can do what others say if you think it's a good idea, or you can use someone's idea and combine it with your ideas and come out with a solution. But as a general rule, I wouldn't just do what others tell me. And something that will help you in investing and in life is to manage your emotions. You'll be a much better person if you do that. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned something new. Comment, like, subscribe. Talk to you soon.